tells us to be authentic. We know it's important, but how do we do it? And how do we do it in a way that's professional and effective? We do it by asking ourselves one profound question before every meeting, phone call. I know phones don't look like this, but we still go like this when we say phones. For every meeting, phone call, ask yourself one question. And that question is, why you? And by why you, I don't mean where did you go to school, how many years do you have as a principal or an AP. Those are external validators. Why you means, why do you care about the work you do? And when was a moment in your life that made you care? And I'll share a few examples of that. The first comes from my friend Patrick. I met Patrick in downtown DC dancing tango. You thought I made up the tango part. I only made up the shark part. So on the floor, on the dance floor, Patrick is this incredible tango dancer. He's the life of the party. The very first time I went to tango, I was naturally drawn to his charisma and energy and joy and playfulness. So Patrick asked me for help preparing a presentation for his day job, which was in real estate development. So I show up at Patrick's office and I sit down in the conference room and I sit back and I wait for Tango Patrick to regale me. And he stands up and he goes, behind me we have the schematics of what the project's gonna look like. And there's the timeline. Any questions? And Patrick was afraid he was a boring speaker. And I'm not gonna lie, Patrick was a boring speaker. But I asked him, why you? Why do you care about your work? And when was a moment in your life that made you care? And it turned out, he didn't. He hated his job, he hated his boss, he hated the industry. It turns out Patrick wasn't a boring speaker, he was just bored. And if you are bored with what you're saying, you're going to be a boring teacher, a boring speaker. Uh-oh. I mean, yeah, of course. Beth Huff said this yesterday. Where did she say this? She said, you cannot fake passion. He wasn't even trying to fake passion. Contrast Patrick, who remains a good friend, who wound up quitting his job and starting his own business, revitalizing an old building in DC. Contrast Patrick's story with Ana Iris. I met Ana in Puerto Rico for a leadership communication program for women entrepreneurs. Ana's the executive director of a nonprofit called Nuestra Escuela. It's an alternative education model in Puerto Rico. And at the beginning of the program, Ana comes up to me and she looks at me with terror and says, I hate public speaking. Can I delegate it to someone on my team? Short answer, no. She's the executive director of her nonprofit. She is the face of the organization. So I asked Ana, why you? Why do you care? And when was a moment in your life that made you care? She told me a story. She told me about how she met her husband and how in love they still are to this day. She told me about her husband's 15-year-old daughter, the light of his life. And then she told me what happened. There was a car accident. His daughter didn't make it. And it devastated their family. And then one night, her husband had a dream, and his daughter came to him in the dream and said, Daddy, I want you to start this school. I want other kids to have access to the resources I never had. And Ana said every single day she wakes up thinking about that 15-year-old daughter. And it fuels her sense of purpose. And it gives her the energy that she needs to deal with all of the budget issues and staffing issues, every day, everything that you face in your work. She was fueled by that sense of purpose. And she took out a notebook and she wrote down, I'm in the service of others, that's why. This is a photo I took of her actual notebook. And in that process, she realized that when she was speaking up on stage, she wasn't the center of attention. Her message was the center of attention. The students she represents are the center of attention. And it would be selfish of her not to get up and speak. She realized it's not about her being in the spotlight. She becomes a searchlight that she shines on others.